Hey there, morning. It's Thursday. It's all good. Nearly Friday. So I did a little movie, a little video, a week ago, I reckon. We had a Hyundai V6 with codes running lean bank one and bank two. Look, I wasn't going to do a follow-up video on that, except for just how to prove, the vacuum leak and all the rest of it. But you know what? I'm going to do it purely because this car's gone from being diagnosed to engine issues, intake manifold, leaking valves, places I want to change engines out. I've been through it again, hate it, all right? Let's prove why. Let's get to the bottom of it, okay? Now, the best part about this story is, one, I was able to get some parts. There was an engineering parts kit for this problem, which I'm going to show to you and explain. Secondly, it cost me like 120 bucks. It's made in Ukraine, right, of all places. And this whole job is going to be done for a few $100. Let's make it $1,000 while I do that, and the labour to take it apart, testing, etc., etc. Not going to be even that. But it was so easy to diagnose, so easy with the fundamentals that people just, I don't get it, all right? I know there's people that want to upsell. Let's get a new engine in there. Let's put head gaskets. It's always a head gasket, right? No. All right. Doesn't teach people anything. All right. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the intake manifold. Actually, I'll show the intake manifold here just so you know what sort of engine it is. And we'll go. Okay. V6. East, west in the car. Bloody horrible. All right. All us mechanics hate it. We cringe at it. Especially if we've got to change the trans or the clutch and the manual gearbox. All right. Anyway, is what it is. So there's the intake manifold, all right, in the center. And then it's got the two-piece, which is a great idea. All right. So I've got the upper piece. Now, we had a vacuum leak. Okay. And the way that I found any vacuum leak in a petrol car only, okay, spark ignition, as in spark plug, okay, is the use of something potent or flammable like brake clean, the old Aerostart, something that's gaseous and will ignite. So what you do is you spray around all the joints, around the gasket flanges, around fittings, around hoses. You know what I mean? There's lots of things that you can induce the flammable gas into. And what do you reckon happens once the engine sucks that gas in? Well, it's like giving it a force fit of fuel, right? The engine RPM is going to spike just for that short burst that it can to run on that small volume of fuel or gaseous substance that you've induced into the engine, okay? I literally took about 2 minutes to find that, okay? And I'm going to show you what it was. Let's have a look. So over here on the other bench, excuse the mess, I've got stuff going everywhere. So this is what we call the upper manifold, okay? And these have long runners. I'm not going to go into short and long runners and the operation of them, but I'll just flip it over so you know what I'm talking about when it comes to runners. All right, so here on the inside, these little butterfly flaps, all right, 6 of them, 6-cylinder, and then, other end. On one end, we have a vacuum diaphragm actuator, okay, and that links to the end, right? And then once it operates, right, well, guess what happens? It's pretty, disconnected, hang on a minute. All right, see that? It turns it, okay? So what it's doing is when the flies are in there, this port is closed, all right? And then when it actuates, well, guess what? These are that way, not closed. I'm not going to go into it, all right? Not right now, all right? It's all to do with the performance of the engine, blah, 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 okay? Now, I was spraying around all of the edges, everywhere there's a gasket, with nothing but a little bit of Aerostart, okay? So here, I did on the rear side of the throttle body, nothing. Until I got to here. I'll just turn it up so you can see it. Right, so that actuator shaft that you see there, all right, well, like everything these days, everything's plastic. So I started spraying around here and, around all these little fittings that are pressed in. And as soon as I sprayed anywhere near here, the engine shot up to about 1,000 RPM and idle. So I took this lever off and I moved it. I'll try and zoom in there. Now, I don't know if you can see that. See, it's moving probably about 2,000ths of an inch, enough for air to get absolutely sucked in. So what I did is I put my ear here close to this area, and I was watching my scan tool, and I was listening to the engine RPM and watching that on the scan tool. And what I did is I just moved this around a little bit, and you could hear it sucking profusely. All right, sucking like someone couldn't suck any harder, basically, for a small area. So anyway, I'm like, oh, I pulled it all apart. It is a plastic bush. And then I noticed that all through the guts here, there's a plastic bush on each plenum gap, basically. So that supports, it's like a bearing. But if you have a look how much I can move that up and down. I don't know if you can see that, guys. I'm trying to do it the best I can. But it's moving. Look at that, up and down. You see that? It's worn massively, all right? So whenever you're using plastic as a wearable part in any sort of metal housing, it is going to grind itself to bits over time, okay? Look, this engine's done about 300,000, so we'll give credit where it's due. The reality is we have to fix it, okay? Well, I can't get the intake manifold. I did some Googling to try and see if there's any parts. Talked to Hyundai, they don't have any parts. And then, lo and behold, I found these guys in Ukraine, right? Cliffex. Now, they do all sorts of weird stuff. Bushes, shaft locators for engines and bits and pieces. Now, check this out, man. Check this out. So you get the main bush, which is this front one here, right? That front one is the one on the ends there. That would have been white years ago, all right? And then that little seal that you see there is a reverse double lip seal, okay? So when you've got vacuum on this side, which is my thumb side, it sucks the secondary seal lip, okay? And it pushes harder on the shaft, which means you're not gonna get any leak. So have a look at that, all right? So it comes with the other, I'm gonna call them just a shaft pivot bearing, okay? So there's one of those for every midsection here, okay? So I need to pull this shaft out, change it, put it back in, put all this back together, you know, job done. No head gaskets, no faulty burnt valves, no piston rings. What the hell? What are these people thinking? Are they thinking? Yeah, we really need to sort of really educate, I think. I know how we're going to do this, but yeah, we need to educate because people, especially with cost of living these days, you can't just throw money at it. And I'm going to say the worst part about this, if they did re-ring this engine or do the head gaskets, guess what? That there would have still played up after they did it all. So they would have finally found that, all right? After how many thousands of dollars, you reckon, guys? All right, so it's fundamental, absolutely imperative that we diagnose, right, the problem. Oh, there's my head. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so I'm going to call that shaft out, put the new bushes on there, put it back in there, and let's see how much movement we don't get after that. Give me a second. All right, guys, she's back together. Now we've gone back to canister purge control, long-term and short-term trim banks 1 and 2, so left and right. All right, now look at those values. Look how stable they are. All right, so those short-term trim banks, for the values there, all right, you're sort of like between -10 and +10 is where you kind of want to be there. We're sort of around the middle of that, so we are really, really good. All right, so at the top there, you'll see 20%. So that's that purge control valve. Remember I was telling you about the canister control or the purge valve? So that opens and allows the engine under vacuum to suck all of the fumes from the canister, which comes from the fuel tank. So if you've got a hot day, well, guess what? You've got a lot of fumes. And the emptier that fuel tank is, obviously the more volume of fuel fumes they have as well. So it's very important for the engine to suck that through and get rid of it. So there we go, guys. Look at that, 0-0. As the engine warms up, it's you know, it's probably sort of a little bit in cold mode there. I think it's gone past cold mode, but she's just sort of finishing off. And couldn't get any better than that. All right. So for the sake of, I'll just put it down. So for the sake of, get out of that sun. You know, 120 bucks plus a few hours labour. She's all done. No head gaskets, no engine replacements. We know exactly what caused it. So she's good. So anyway, we'll see you in the next video. I'm just going to wrap this one up, ring the customer and say she's all good. Fault code's gone. There's no engine light coming on straight away. So we are done. All right, you take care all. We'll see you later. Cheerio.